What a 4-year-old child said could make us question everything we thought we knew about reality. The story you're about to hear is one that science can't explain, logic rejects, but our hearts have always known to be true. A family's tragic loss, a chance encounter with a dog, and the chain of events that followed. What happened in Vienna contains some of the strongest evidence that death isn't the end, that love transcends all boundaries, and that souls truly exist. On Reincarnation Chronicles, we share real stories proving life doesn't end with death. Subscribe so you never miss stories like this. So, if you're ready, let me tell you the incredible story of the Peterson family. Let's begin. It was a Saturday afternoon when the Peterson family left their home in Döbling, a quiet neighborhood in Vienna. 4-year-old Thomas gripped his mother Sarah's hand tightly. The little boy's hands were ice cold. His face was expressionless. His eyes stared into nothing. His father, Michael, silently opened the car door, not saying a word. They were heading to one of the animal shelters in Floridsdorf, in the northern part of the city. Thomas had been asking for a dog for weeks, but his parents didn't believe it would help. 9 months ago, the Peterson family's 3-year-old daughter Lily had died within 72 hours from sudden and severe encephalitis. That Thursday morning, she only had a mild fever. By afternoon, she had slipped into a coma. By Saturday morning, her heart stopped. Just like that, she was gone. No chance to say goodbye. She left behind a shattered family. 9 months had passed, but the family hadn't recovered from this trauma. Sarah still couldn't breathe when she remembered that day. Panic attacks would overwhelm her. Lily's tiny body between the white hospital sheets, the flat line on the heart monitor, the apologetic looks from the doctors, and worst of all, the fact that Thomas would never be the same again. When the child learned his sister had died, didn't scream or cry. He just silently nodded his head and never spoke again. The bond between them had been so strong that when Lily left, it was as if she had taken Thomas with her. When they met with psychologists, one of them had said during a session that a dog might reconnect him to life. It would be a new bond, a new responsibility, and it might work. Sarah and Michael were desperately willing to try anything. Thomas was no longer that lively, cheerful child. He was just a shadow, surviving, but not living. When they arrived at the animal shelter, they were greeted by a middle-aged woman with a warm smile. "Hello, I'm Helena," she said. "You must be the Peterson family. Welcome." Helena had worked at this shelter for 19 years. She had helped thousands of animals find new homes. But what was about to happen today would be one of the most extraordinary things she'd ever witnessed. "Our son loves dogs," Sarah said. Her voice trembled as she spoke. "Maybe a friend—" She couldn't complete the sentence. Helena smiled with understanding. "Of course. Let me show you our guests." They began walking down a long corridor. Cages lined both sides. Dogs were barking. Some were jumping excitedly. Some were looking with sad eyes. Thomas wasn't looking at any of them. His head down, he just walked as if staring into emptiness. Sarah's heart ached. Maybe this idea wouldn't work. Maybe it wasn't a good idea for Thomas. When they reached the end of the corridor, Helena stopped. "This is the section for newly arrived animals. They haven't been fully tested yet, but—" She couldn't finish her sentence because Thomas had suddenly stopped. His entire body had tensed. His breathing had quickened. Something was off about Thomas. "Thomas?" Sarah said anxiously, but the child didn't respond. His eyes were locked on a cage at the very end of the corridor. And in those eyes, for the first time in 9 months, there was something. As if he was looking at someone he knew. "She's here, Mom," he whispered, his voice tired and cracked, as if rusty from never being used. The child was speaking for the first time in nearly 9 months. "Mom, Lily is here," he repeated. In that moment, time seemed to stop. Sarah's heart began pounding wildly in her chest. Michael's face turned white. Helena looked at the child in shock. But Thomas wasn't hearing, wasn't seeing. Locked in, he was only staring at the cage. He released his mother's hand and started running. His small feet echoed on the corridor floor. "Wait! That dog hasn't been—" Helena shouted, but Thomas didn't stop. When he reached the cage, he quickly dropped to his knees. He stretched his hands between the metal bars. Inside the cage was a medium-sized dog, about 1 year old, with white and golden fur. According to Helena, this dog had been found on the street 5 days ago, and since then hadn't eaten anything, hadn't moved. It just sat in the corner as if waiting to die. But the moment the dog saw Thomas, it sprang up as if electrocuted. It wagged its tail frantically and ran to the cage. It started licking Thomas's hand. It whimpered, howled, as if it had lost its owner years ago, as if they knew each other. "Lily," Thomas said. He had started crying. "Lily, is it you? My sister. I came for you." Everyone witnessing this moment had their world turned upside down. Sarah had dropped to her knees, frozen, watching her son with a blank expression. Michael leaned against the wall. His legs wouldn't hold him. Helena covered her mouth with her hand. Her eyes were wide as saucers. Time had stopped. "Thomas, son, what are you saying?" Sarah managed to speak quietly and with difficulty. The child turned and looked at his mother. On her son's face was an expression she hadn't seen in 9 months. Happiness. Pure, untainted happiness. "This is Lily, Mom. My sister. Lily came back. She promised me. She promised she would come back." Helena opened the cage. The dog burst out. It hit Thomas so hard it nearly knocked him over. It started licking his face, jumped on him, wagging its tail, whimpering, as if it would never let go. It had attached itself to Thomas. And there was something about this behavior. Helena had facilitated many dog adoptions, and this was very different from a usual first meeting. This was a reunion. Michael approached. He couldn't speak. "Helena," he finally said, "where did this dog come from? Can you answer?" Helena pulled out her notebook. "Found on May 13th near Pata Park, about 1 year old. No chip, no one claimed her. The strange thing is, since she got here, she hasn't eaten anything, hasn't engaged with anyone. This is the first time I'm seeing her like this. I can't believe it either." Michael did a quick calculation. Lily died on August 20th, 2018. It was now May 18th, 2019. 9 months ago. If this dog was 1 year old, she must have been born in May 2018, 3 months before Lily died. It didn't make sense. But what he was seeing didn't make sense either. "Thomas," Sarah said, gently sitting next to her son. The dog had calmed down now. She had laid her head in Thomas's lap. Eyes closed, she rested peacefully. "Why do you think this is Lily, son?" The child answered while stroking the dog's soft fur. "Mom, look. Her eyes,
her gaze. They're the same. I feel the same thing I felt when I looked at Lily. And her smell is the same too. Remember how Lily's hair used to smell after being washed with that lavender shampoo? She smells exactly like that.
Sarah's hair stood on end. It was true. Lily's favorite was a lavender and chamomile-scented shampoo. But how could a dog smell like that? Thomas suddenly became serious.
Mom, there's something else, he said. She knows our secret game.
Then he did something unexpected. With his right hand, he tapped the ground 4 times. Then with his left hand, 3 times. Then he clapped twice. This was the secret code between Lily and Thomas. It meant, "I love you forever." Only they knew it.
Sarah and Michael had only learned it by accidentally watching their children a few weeks before Lily's death.
The dog immediately reacted. She straightened up. With her right paw, she tapped the ground 4 times. Then with her left paw, 3 times. Then she flapped her ears twice, as if clapping. Then she laid her head on Thomas's chest. Exactly as Lily used to do when she wanted a hug. Helena staggered backward. Her face was white.
Impossible. This is impossible. That dog didn't respond to anything, didn't respond to any training. How can this be?
Michael dropped to his knees. His voice was shaking. Thomas, how do you know Lily said she would come back, son? The child looked at him with a maturity beyond his years.
The night Lily was sick, she came to my room. She was very sick, but Mom was sleeping. Lily said, "I'm going away for a while, but I'll come back, I promise." The souls of those who truly love each other never separate. You'll recognize me again. You'll know it's me.
Sarah covered her mouth with her hands. She remembered that night. Lily had a high fever. The doctor had said viral infection. Wait, he had said. The next morning, Lily was in a coma. 48 hours later, she died. But Sarah never knew that Lily had gotten up that night and gone to Thomas's room. How could a 3-year-old say such things?
Unbelievable, Helena whispered. I've been doing this for 19 years. I've seen thousands of animals, thousands of adoptions. But a bond like this, recognition like this, a feeling like this, I've never seen it. Michael searched for logical explanations. Maybe the dog belonged to someone who resembled Lily. Maybe it was reflecting Thomas's grief. But he knew what he was saying was empty. What he was seeing was far beyond logical explanations. There's one more thing, Thomas said. Lily had a special mark. On her left arm, just below her elbow, she had a birthmark that looked like a star. Do you remember, Mom? The Peterson family froze. It was true. Lily had a small star-shaped birthmark on her left arm, about 1.5 centimeters in size. Look, Thomas said, lifting the dog's left front leg. And there, among the fur, was a slightly darker colored area. It formed a perfect star shape. Same place, same size. Helena approached. She looked in disbelief. Dogs don't have markings like this. And even if they did, for it to be in the same place, the same shape, it's very strange. Sarah couldn't hold herself back anymore. She couldn't give any logical answer to what she was hearing. Her nerves were so frayed that she started crying. Michael felt his beliefs shaking. "We're adopting this dog immediately," he said. "Today, right now, we're taking her out of here." Helena nodded. Her eyes were teary. "I'll prepare the paperwork. but I need to tell you something strange. When this dog was found, she was wearing a purple collar. There was no tag, but we removed the collar because it was too tight. I saved it." She returned a few minutes later with a worn, dirty purple collar. Sarah took it in her hand and her breath caught. This collar was exactly the color of Lily's favorite purple hair ribbon. That hair ribbon had gone missing 2 days before Lily died. They never found it. "There's more," Helena said. "The collar had fur stuck in it. We found this, too." She placed something small in Sarah's hand. It was a small plastic unicorn figurine from Lily's favorite unicorn toy set. One of the toys that had been buried with Lily in her casket. Thomas just smiled. "See, Mom? Lily always keeps her promises." That night, in their home in Dublin, the dog that Thomas now called Lil settled in as if she had always lived there. But what happened in the following days would convince even the biggest skeptics. The first night, something strange occurred. While Sarah was preparing dinner in the kitchen, she heard the sound of Thomas laughing from the living room. Real, deep, genuine laughter. For the first time in 9 months. She ran to the living room, and what she saw froze her. Thomas and Lil were playing that special game Thomas and Lily had invented, the Magic Tower game. The rules were complex, a game only the 2 children knew that no adult understood. You had to stack pillows in a certain order, then spin counterclockwise twice, then throw stuffed animals in a specific color sequence. The dog, Lil, knew the rules perfectly. She waited her turn. She brought the right stuffed animals in the right order. She even barked in protest when Thomas tried to cheat, just like little Lily used to yell, "No, not like that, Thomas!" When Michael came home, he watched for a long time. Then he sank heavily onto the couch. "There must be a logical explanation," he said in a weak voice. "In 3 hours?" Sarah said. "A game we don't even fully understand?" The next day, something even stranger happened. Sarah heard a sound from Lily's room. That room had been closed since Lily's death. They kept it like a museum. She ran up the stairs and found the door, which was always locked, standing open. Inside, the dog Lil was sitting in front of Lily's music box. The box was open. Fur Elise was playing from it. How had the dog opened it? But even more shocking was that the dog had pulled Lily's favorite pink blanket from the closet. Lily's name was written on it. She had dragged the blanket to the bed and was lying in exactly the same spot, in the same position where Lily used to curl up and sleep in the afternoon. "Michael!" Sarah shouted. When the whole family gathered in the room, Thomas climbed onto the bed and lay down next to the dog. "It's Lil's nap time," he said. "She always sleeps at 3:30 p.m. Mom, will you read a story?" "Which story, sweetheart?" "The little black fish. The fish that found the sea. It was our favorite." It was true. The Little Black Fish was Lily's favorite book. Sarah would read it every day before nap time. With trembling hands, she took the worn book from the shelf and began reading. Then something incredible happened. When she got to Lily's favorite sentence, "Sometimes you have to get lost to find yourself," the dog sat up and placed her paw on the book. Exactly as little Lily used to do every time, asking her mother to stop and read that sentence again. "How?" Sarah whispered. "Is it really you?" The dog looked at her with deep eyes and let out a soft whimper. Then she licked Sarah's hand, just as little Lily used to kiss her mother's hand after story time. Michael rushed into the corridor.
When Sarah found him, he was leaning against the wall, his face buried in his hands, crying. For the first time since Lily's funeral.
"I don't understand," he sobbed. "Everything I knew, life, death, reality, it's all collapsing."
Sarah hugged him.
"What if it's really true? What if souls are real? What if love is stronger than death?"
That night, they made a decision. They would document everything and search for answers. The next morning, Sarah called Dr. Marion Koch, the child psychologist who had been seeing Thomas since Lily's death.
"Dr. Koch, what I'm about to tell you might sound crazy, but I need your help."
When Sarah told the whole story, there was a long silence on the phone.
"Mrs. Peterson," the doctor finally said, "what you're describing sounds like cases I've read about in the literature. Transpersonal bonds, transferred memories, extremely rare, and science doesn't have definitive explanations. But I know someone who might be able to help you. Professor Franz Weber runs the parapsychology department at the University of Vienna. He studies unexplained reincarnation and animal memory cases. He might be able to help."
2 days later, Professor Weber arrived at the Petersons' home with 2 researchers and advanced recording equipment. He was a serious man in his 60s with white hair and sharp glasses. "Mr. and Mrs. Peterson, Thomas," he said as he settled into the living room. "I'll be honest with you. In my 35-year career, I've investigated over 180 claimed reincarnation cases. 93% had logical explanations, projected grief, coincidence, imagination, sometimes deliberate fraud. But the remaining 7% defies all explanations. Do you think yours is in that 7%? "Right now, I'm not thinking anything," the professor said. "I'm here to observe, test, and document. If what you're saying is true, we're dealing with one of the most significant documented cases of cross-species soul transfer with verifiable markers. If so, this is truly extraordinary." Over the next 4 days, Professor Weber's team subjected Thomas and the dog Lily to a series of tests. The results were truly incredible. Test 1. Recognition of places and personal items. The dog was shown 20 different objects. 6 of them belonged to Lily. Without hesitation, Lil selected Lily's 6 items, gathered them together, and lay protectively over them. The probability of this being coincidence was astronomically low. All calculations were being done. Test 2. Person recognition. 12 different people were brought to the house. 4 of them were people little Lily had known closely: her daycare teacher, her grandmother, and her 2 closest 4-year-old friends, Sophie and Max. The dog immediately reacted to the 4 people Lily had known. She showed special excitement and behaviors she didn't show with the other 8 strangers. With teacher Miss Anna, Lil found and brought a specific picture book. The book little Lily always took to daycare. With grandmother, she climbed into her lap and turned exactly twice, a movement Lily had systematically done. With Sophie and Max, she initiated a special ball rolling game between the 2 of them, a complex game the 3 children had invented together. "This is our secret game," Sophie exclaimed in amazement. "How does this dog know this? Only the 3 of us knew it." Professor Weber meticulously noted every detail. "The probability of this being coincidence is mathematically negligible," he whispered to his assistant. Test 3. The most disturbing test. Response to complex emotional stimuli. Different music was played for the dog. When she heard Vivaldi's 4 Seasons, Spring, Lily's favorite, the music Sarah played every night before bed, Lil immediately stood up. She went to get Lily's blanket and settled into Lily's room on her bed. "Bedtime," Thomas said, watching the scene. "Lil always goes to bed when she hears this music." But the most extraordinary moment came on day 5. Professor Weber had brought special equipment, a symbol communication board normally used with specially trained chimpanzees and dolphins. It was a board made of symbols that the animal could touch with a paw or nose to communicate basic concepts. "This time, I want to try something that hasn't been tried before," the professor explained. "I'm going to try to communicate directly with the dog using symbols to see if there's a persistent human consciousness." He set up the board in front of the dog Lil and showed her with his hand how to touch the symbols. Then he asked the first question. "Who are you?" The dog looked at the board. Then she touched 4 symbols in succession. Lily, sister, Thomas, love. Silence engulfed the room. "Oh my God," the professor's assistant whispered. "She constructed a coherent sentence." The professor asked the second question with trembling hands. "Do you remember your previous life?" The dog touched. "Yes. Sick. White. Dark. Light. Return. Promise." Sarah collapsed. Even Michael's eyes welled up. Professor Weber took off his glasses and wiped them. He was clearly affected. "In my 35-year career, I've never seen anything like this." He asked the third question. "Why did you come back?" The dog's answer was immediate and heartbreaking. "Thomas. Sad. Promise. Love. Always together." Thomas approached. He held the dog's head between his small hands. "I knew you'd come back, Lily. I knew you'd never leave me alone." In the following weeks, what happened would change the Petersons' lives and create seismic waves in the international scientific community. Professor Weber published a detailed article in the Journal of Parapsychology titled "The Lily Thomas Case: Evidence of Cross-Species Consciousness Transfer." The article was read by thousands of researchers worldwide. Some were skeptical, criticizing it as fraud or misinterpretation. But others, those who had investigated unexplained cases themselves, realized something extraordinary was happening. Dr. James Stevenson, the renowned reincarnation researcher from Harvard University, personally contacted Professor Weber. "Franz, I've examined the Peterson case with extreme care. If your data is accurate, and I see no reason to doubt your rigorous methodology, we're dealing with something historic. Not just apparent transferred memory, but cross-species consciousness transfer with verifiable physical and behavioral markers. Revolutionary." But for the Petersons, beyond science, beyond research and publications, there was something much simpler and infinitely more important. Their family was complete again. Thomas had found his sister. 7 months after adopting Lil, Thomas had changed radically. The depression had vanished. The nightmares had ended. He was laughing again, playing again, living again. And always by his side was the dog Lil, carrying his sister's soul. In December 2019, one evening as Sarah was putting Thomas to bed, the child asked a question that surprised her with its depth. "Mom, when Lil the dog dies, will Lily come back again?" Sarah felt a lump in her throat. "I don't know, sweetheart. Why are you asking?" "Because Lily told me that the souls of those who truly love each other never separate. So I'm thinking she'll always come back. Maybe next time not a dog, maybe a bird or a butterfly. Maybe even my own child when I grow up. But she'll come back, because we're bound forever." Sarah kissed her son. tears
flowed freely down her cheeks. "You know what, sweetheart? I think you're right. I think love is stronger than anything.
stronger than death, stronger than time, stronger than the distance between worlds." That night, as every night, the dog Lil slept in Thomas's bed. Her head rested on the pillow next to him, just as little Lily used to do before she got sick. And in the darkness of the room, if you listened very carefully, you could hear Thomas whispering, "Good night, Lily. I love you forever." And the dog, in a way that defied all scientific logic, let out a soft whimper that sounded like, "I love you too, Thomas." Today, in 2025, Thomas is now 10 years old, and the dog Lil is 6. They're inseparable. The case has been studied by over 40 researchers from 18 different countries. None of them have found a logical explanation for the observed events. Professor Weber, in his latest book, Consciousness Beyond Death, The Lily Case Analysis, wrote, "As someone who has dedicated my entire
Career to consciousness and the continuity of the soul, I can definitively say this. The Lily Thomas case is the strongest evidence I've encountered that something of our essence, our consciousness, what we might call the soul, survives physical death and can re-embody under conditions we don't yet fully understand. More importantly, this case shows that true love, unconditional love, is a force that transcends all boundaries, including life and death." The Petersons have learned to live with their extraordinary reality. They no longer try to understand. They simply accept and feel grateful. Sarah often says, "I lost my daughter, but the universe, in its infinite mercy, gave her back to me in a way I could never have imagined." And Thomas, now wise beyond his years, a 10-year-old child, simply says, "Lily was right. The souls of those who truly love each other never separate. She proved it to me." But the story doesn't end here. Because Thomas and Lil's journey wasn't just a family's miraculous reunion. Over time, their story inspired thousands of people, became a source of hope, and brought comfort to families experiencing their deepest losses. In March 2021, during those dark pandemic days when the world was gripped by fear, Sarah made a decision. The Peterson family's story needed to reach wider audiences. This extraordinary experience shouldn't just remain in scientists' reports. Maybe somewhere out there were other families burning with the pain of losing loved ones. Maybe they could give them hope. Sarah started a blog, The Language of Souls, Lily and Thomas's Story. When she published her first post, 50,000 people read it within 48 hours. By the end of the second week, the number exceeded 2 million. Comments began flooding in, and Sarah was shaken by what she read. "I lost my 3-year-old son," wrote a mother from Germany. "But last month, a cat in the neighborhood started following me. It plays my son's favorite game with me. It responds to the same song. I thought I was going crazy. After reading your story, maybe I'm not crazy." "After my mother died," wrote a woman from Spain, "a bird comes to our garden every day at the same time, exactly at noon, when my mother used to prepare lunch. And the strange thing is, this bird whistles my mother's favorite song. People say it's coincidence, but I know. My mother is showing me she's still here." There were thousands of similar stories. Some were convincing, some were perhaps coincidence, but they all had one thing in common: love, loss, and the hope of reconnection. Professor Weber told Sarah he wanted to research this phenomenon more deeply. "Your case might just be the tip of the iceberg," he said.
Perhaps these kinds of soul transfers are far more common than we think. People just stay silent because of fear, social pressure. In 2022, an international research project was launched under Professor Weber's leadership, the Interspecies Consciousness Transfer Study. Researchers from 23 countries began documenting similar cases, and the results were astonishing. After 3 years of research, 147 cases were classified in the strong evidence category. 89 involved dogs, 31 cats, 12 birds, 9 horses, and 6 other animals. In every case, there was a lost loved one and an animal that later appeared showing inexplicably similar behaviors. But none had evidence as strong as the Lily Thomas case. Physical marker, the star birthmark. Behavioral consistency, game rules, music preferences. Emotional recognition, special bond with family members. Communication ability, the symbol board. All of these together existed only in the Lily Thomas case. Just because science can't explain something doesn't mean it's not real, Professor Weber said at an international conference. Maybe our explanatory tools aren't yet developed enough. What is consciousness? Where is memory stored? Is the soul something physical or energy? We don't have definitive answers to these questions. But what we observe is this: love, bonds, consciousness. These can transcend bodily limitations. By the time Thomas turned 10, he had become a mature, thoughtful child. He was one of the most beloved students at school. His friends called him the animal whisperer because he could form a special bond with all animals. But his most special bond was, of course, with Lil. One day, Thomas wrote the following in a school composition assignment. People are afraid of death, but I'm not, because I know that love is stronger than death. My sister Lily taught me this. She left, but she came back. In a different form, but she still came back. This showed me that nothing is really lost. It just changes shape, like water. Sometimes ice, sometimes water, sometimes vapor, but always the same thing. When his teacher, Mrs. Fisher, read this text, she couldn't hold back her tears. She showed it to the principal. The principal called Sarah. "Your son is an extraordinary child," she said. "And not just because he's intelligent. His perspective on life isn't what you'd expect from a 10-year-old. What your family has experienced has made him different." Indeed it had. Thomas no longer feared death, no longer feared loss, because he had learned through experience that love knows no boundaries. In the summer of 2023, an unexpected event occurred. Michael's mother, 78-year-old grandmother Margaret, passed away after a long illness. At the funeral, everyone was crying, but Thomas was calm and peaceful. He was even smiling slightly. "Aren't you sad?" asked a relative. "I'm sad," Thomas said, "but I'm not scared. I'll miss Grandma Margaret, but I know she'll come back to us somehow, maybe as a bird. Grandma loved the birds in the garden. Or maybe as a butterfly. She always wanted to see colorful butterflies. But however she comes, I'll recognize her, because love doesn't change." That night, Sarah said to her husband, "Our son has taught us about death. A 10-year-old child has taught us life's greatest secret. And you know what? I think he's right." Indeed, a week after Margaret's funeral, a blue jay began coming to the Petersons' garden every morning at the same time, 10 o'clock, Margaret's tea time. The bird would perch on Margaret's favorite flowers, the purple hydrangeas, and stay for a long time. It never startled, never fled, as if it was watching over the family. One morning, when Thomas went out to the garden, the bird landed directly on his shoulder, and Thomas could have sworn the bird whispered to him, "Don't worry, everything's all right." Was it coincidence? Imagination? Or was it really Margaret? Thomas knew. Deep in his heart, he knew. Such moments multiplied over time. One day, when Sarah was crying in the kitchen, missing Lily, Lil came to her side and did exactly what Lily used to do when Sarah was sad. She laid her head in Sarah's lap and let out a small whimper. Then she licked Sarah's tears, as if saying, "Don't cry, Mom. I'm here."
When Michael was overwhelmed by work stress, Lil would go to his study and scratch the door with her paw, exactly as Lily used to do, to say, "Dad, play with me." And Michael, every single time, would leave his work, play with Lil, and forget his stress. These small moments, these invisible bonds, had transformed the Petersons' lives. They no longer saw death as an eternal goodbye. They saw it as a transformation, a change. And this perspective had given them tremendous peace. In 2024, Sarah's blog was turned into a book. Love Never Dies, A Family's Journey Through the Realm of Souls. The book was translated into 37 languages. It sold 8 million copies worldwide. But more importantly, it gave hope to thousands of families. At the book launch, Sarah said, "My purpose in writing this book wasn't to prove to people that reincarnation is real. Science will continue to debate that. My purpose was to give hope to families experiencing loss. I wanted to show that the people we love might be closer than we think. Maybe in a bird's song, maybe in a dog's gaze, maybe in the whisper of the wind. When we look with open hearts and open eyes, we can see them." At a book signing, an elderly woman approached Sarah. Her eyes were filled with tears. "I lost my husband 5 years ago," she said. "Since then, I've seen him every night in my dreams, always the same dream. He smiles at me and says, 'I'll return soon.' I thought I was going crazy, but after reading your book, last week my neighbor's cat had kittens. She gave me one, and this cat does everything my husband used to do. The way it sits, its sleeping position, even when it looks at me, there's that light in its eyes. Is it him? Is this my husband?" Sarah held the woman's hands. "What does your heart tell you?" "My heart says," the woman sobbed, "he came back. He promised me, and he came back." Sarah hugged the woman, and in that moment, she knew writing the book had been worth it. Because if she could give hope to even one person, it was worth everything. Today, in 2025, the Peterson family lives a happy life in Vienna. Thomas is now in high school, still an empathetic, intelligent young man with a special bond with animals. Lil is 6 years old, still vibrant and incredibly attached to Thomas. Last month, something interesting happened to Thomas. There was a new girl in his class. Her name was Emma. When Emma first saw Thomas, she looked at him strangely. "I feel like I know you," she said. "But that's impossible. I've never seen you in this city before." Thomas smiled. "Maybe you know me from somewhere else, from another time." Emma's eyes widened. "Do you believe in reincarnation?" "I don't have to believe," Thomas said. "I've lived it." And maybe, just maybe, a new story was beginning. Because in the cycle of souls, nothing was coincidence.
Professor Weber wrote in his final article, "The Lilly-Thomas case has shown us that the universe is far more mysterious than we thought. Consciousness, soul, love, these may not be subject to physical laws. Perhaps the greatest science is the science of the heart. Perhaps the deepest truth is the truth of love." And indeed, beyond all scientific debates, beyond all doubts, there was one truth. The Peterson family had somehow found their lost daughter again, and for them, that was enough. In her final blog post, Sarah wrote, "People ask me, is Lil really Lily? My answer is always the same. Does it matter? What matters is this. Lil brought Lily back to us. Her memories, her love, her presence. Thomas is laughing again, living again. We're a family again. Whether Lil brought this piece as a dog or as Lily's soul, maybe it doesn't matter, because the result is the same. Love won, not loss, love." And perhaps that was the real message of this story. When we lose our loved ones, do they really leave? Or do they just change form and continue to be with us in different ways? Science can't yet give definitive answers, but hearts know. If you've also lost a loved one, if you also sometimes feel they're still with you, maybe you're not wrong. Maybe that bird, that cat, that dog, that wind, that coincidence, maybe none of it is chance. Maybe they're your loved one's way of saying, "I'm here, still with you." And in the streets of Vienna, in the greenery of Prater Park, a child and a dog still run together, play together, laugh together. Two souls, two lives, but one love. Infinite, unchanging, invincible love. Because in the end, in this mysterious, infinite universe, this is the only thing that truly lasts. Love. And love never dies.